coming up. So that's the point on that chick there, that woman there. She went off. She's going off. So we were on Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. That's why everything is destroyed. Okay, it said in Daniel 7. 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Here's the point I wanted. And think to change times and laws. And that's what this devil has done. He's done changed times and laws, because when you go back to Genesis 25, it says this devil came out all over, red all over like a hairy garment. Okay, the only nation of people that is primarily shades of red is the nation of Edom, the Caucasian race. Today called the so-called white race. Now, not all white people are Edomites. A lot of them are actually Israelites that look like white people. This is Genesis 27. So let's read about this guy. We can read about that in Genesis 25, about Jacob and Esau. They were both born from the same mom. They were twins. Now when you get down here in verse 40, Isaac is giving Edom his blessing. And it says, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, and thou shalt have the dominion. And that's what Esau is living this blessing right now, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck, and that's what Esau has done. But you notice it says, and by the sword shalt thou live. So when you go into Revelation 6, it says 4, and in verse 4 it says, and there went out another horse that was red. Horse is synonymous with power in the scriptures, and this horse was red. This is the same person ruling. It's a metaphor for how he's going to be ruling, how the earth's going to be once this devil's in power. It's basically going into the same thing as Genesis 27. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that's what this devil has done by destroying the earth. So when we go back to this article here about all these plastics in the oceans, they said once again, we poured more than 150 million metric tons of plastic garbage into the ocean since 1950. Plastic bits have turned up in places as remote as the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Once again, plastic bits have turned up in places as remote as the bottom of the Mariana Trench, where scientists recently found an intact plastic bag some 6 kilometers below the ocean surface. So it should come up as no surprise that life in the deep has figured out how to extract carbon, a building block of life. Yeah, that's fucked up. That's what you have here under Edom's rulership and power here, dominion here. It's gonna fuck everything up. And this as well is going back also. Going back to what I mentioned in the first part of this, in Matthew 24, where it says Once again, I'll just get it again here in Matthew 24, verse 7 on down. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. And we mentioned in the article I brought earlier how in India there's the economy is real down bad, that the cost of food is rising. And then here it says, as aid dries up in Kenya, millions are threatened by the climate-driven disease Kala Azar. Rising temperatures and erratic rainfall have supercharged the breeding of sandflies that spread the disease, putting 5 million at risk. Oh, so never mind. This was, but it still fits because it's said in there in Matthew 24. Pestilences as well. It mentioned pestilences in divers places. This is the down. The disease attacks vital organs and it is fatal in 95% of cases. God. Yeah, so that's a prophecy being fulfilled right there. And I'll have to get this as well. This is another article I want to touch on from MLive. It says a Saginaw woman wanted on warrant in McDonald's coffee chucking incident, and this is going into the love of many waxing cold. Okay, you have a lot of cases where they chuck hot coffee, warm coffee, in some cases very hot, at the McDonald's workers or whatever other coffee place you can go to buy some coffee. They throw it at the ones working there. In Buena Vista, wherever that is, Michigan, prosecutors have leveled a criminal charge against a Saginaw woman for allegedly throwing hot coffee on a manager of a local McDonald's. Officials issued their warrant for the 48-year-old woman on November 5th, charging her with assault and battery. So yeah, so so they always lie, because they always like to paint the image as men being the violent ones and the ones that are always getting go lunatic, crazy, and hurt others. But it's also these women too. Okay, in this case, it was like in many others too. It's a woman. So you woman also ain't all the way innocent. Okay, you're guilty too, and you're off, completely off. It says the woman is not in complete police custody as of Wednesday, November 12th. Buena Vista Township Police Detective Russ Passing said officers have been unable to locate her. He encouraged her to surrender to authorities. Alright, so that's the point. And you have many more of these cases of people losing their minds and deciding to go ape shit on their closest fellow citizen. And once again, this is because Esau is in power. This is in Matthew 24, verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, iniquities an unbalanced level of wickedness. Like it means iniquity means basically like there's so much wickedness outweighing the righteousness in iniquity. Goes into unequal. Matthew 24:11. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many, and because iniquity shall abound, once again the love of many shall wax cold. And that's what you're having. And you're gonna have more of that. You're gonna have more of that. Which also falls in line with this scripture or all that. Also, the scripture also goes into it. You know, that woman had a demon on her, which is in it mentions about those demons in Sirach 39:26. Actually, and the point is in verse 28, that there be spirits created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they poured out their force and appeased the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail, famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. And in some cases it's hot coffee being thrown at you or at somebody. And that was the case with this one. And you're gonna have more of these cases that are gonna pop up. And so I had another article here. I'll just pull up. Yeah, like in this case, you had this. Yeah, this is an example as well. This man here stabbed this woman, and this is going into this woman, a woman here getting judged by the Lord. This is all judgment, all evil here, and all good here is decided by the Lord. And then it happened. So the title of it was "Man Charged with Murder After a Woman Stabbed in Birmingham and Dies." She died. Police at the scene of the stabbing, Birmingham City. It says a man has been charged with murder after a woman who was stabbed in the neck in Birmingham City Central on Friday night died from her injuries. Katie Fox was taken to a hospital with a serious neck wound after the attack outside the entrance to Birmingham New Street Station shortly before 9 p.m. West Midlands police said the 34-year-old woman who was in a critical condition had since died. A man arrested close to the scene of the attack appeared in court on Monday. Jason Raphael, 21, was charged initially with attempted murder and remanded in custody to appear at Birmingham Magistrates Court. Possession of a Stanley knife and assaulting an emergency worker. Okay, so that's the point there. That woman there got judged. Then I had this other article, which this one happens to be another woman as well that got judged. So this can fall right in line with Isaiah 30:32. I just try to get that real quick. In Isaiah 32. Isaiah 32 and 9. You women who are so complacent, rise up and listen to me. You daughters refuse secure. Hear what I have to say. Complacent. Let's look this word. This word meaning up. I think it means like comfortable. It says showing smug or
complacent.
Complacent. Showing smug or uncritical satisfaction with oneself or one's achievements. Self-satisfied. Self-approving. Careless. In verse 10, in little more than a year, you who feel secure will tremble, and you had a prelude to that with the SNAP benefits being shut off earlier last month. It said on October, it says in the harvest the fruit will not come, and that was just the prelude. Once again, we spoke on that earlier in the first part of this series, this 2-part series. And the harvest of fruit will not come. Tremble, you woman, complacent woman. Shudder, you daughters who refuse secure. Strip off your fine clothes and wrap yourselves in rags. Beat your breasts for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vines, and for the land of my people, a land overgrown with thorns and briars. Yes, mourn for all houses of merriment, and for this city of revelry. The fortress will be abandoned, the noisy city deserted, and soon it's going to be the case here with America, and with what's about to hit here with America, and what's going to happen here with the society and how, especially here in Babylon, America, once again, and really everywhere, but mainly here in Babylon, America. The fortresses will be abandoned, the noisy city deserted. Citadel and watchtower will become a wasteland forever. The delight of donkeys, a pasture for flocks. Yes, a wasteland forever. So the Spirit is poured on us from on high, and that's ultimately in the kingdom. And the desert becomes a fertile field. And the fertile field seems like a forest, and that's going into the kingdom. The Lord's justice will dwell in the desert. His righteousness live in the fertile field. That's going to be the perfect values in the kingdom. Once again, the fruit of the righteousness will be peace. The fruit of that righteousness will be peace, and its effects will be quietness and confidence forever. My people will live in peaceful dwelling places and secure homes and undisturbed places of rest. Though hell flattens the forest and the city is leveled completely, that's going to go into the destruction of missiles, the 200 million missiles. That's going to be the end of America, which is prophesied in Revelation 9:20, verse 20 here in Isaiah 32. How blessed you will be, showing your seed by every stream. Yes, that the blessed ones are here is going to be the elect and all Israel eventually. So sowing who are Israelites, to whom pertains the adoptions, the glory, the covenants. Sowing your seed by every stream. Sowing our seed's going to be what our hands build, what our minds, heart's desire is to build and to be our thoughts, our prosperity, our joy and peace is going to be prospering, unlike here in this kingdom, and letting your cattle and donkeys range free, because our kingdom is going to be that perfect that you're going to be able to allow your cattle to just roam free without having to lock them up, like how you gotta lock shit up in this kingdom here. In our kingdom, the true kingdom, which is that's why it's gonna be an everlasting kingdom, unlike this one here, Edom's kingdom here. Jacob's kingdom is gonna be an everlasting one because that's the true kingdom. Yeah, because Jacob's trouble is gonna come, and this is all just it hasn't happened yet. But I brought out Revelation 12 and 12 earlier, going into how these elites, they're going to eventually come out with something greater and bigger than anything ever before that they've done, which is ultimately of the will of the Lord's plans he's going to put in them to do. That's going to be the catalyst to Jacob's trouble. Here in Jeremiah 30 and 7, alas, for the day is great. That great day, the great day of what? Of trouble, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Also in Daniel 12 here. Daniel 12 here in